What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Thank you so much for tuning back in here for another exciting episode of Tuffy Talk. As we are so excited today to welcome Jack Chambers, Charleston Southern quarterback transfer to NC State, grad transfer, I guess you can say. And also, too, just a little bit of FYI, we're actually recording this on July 19th, which is his birthday. So huge shout out to you, Jack, and happy birthday to you. Appreciate you taking time to join us here for an interview on your birthday. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely, Jack. So first of all, I mean, just kind of in the basic general questions, like, how are things going so far? I think you joined State in May, if I'm not mistaken. And so,
Right.
how things been going so far? How have you, enjoyed Raleigh? Like, what's the field been like so far?
I honestly can't complain. I've loved it ever since I've got here. It's been a completely different environment from where I came from. It's just like the complete different levels, and it's just the expectations of coming in here, and everything just matched up to it. The guys are amazing here. The city is actually pretty cool too. I've driven around, went and had dinner at a few places. It's real nice around here, and everyone's just so welcoming.
Yeah, great to hear. And what's been one thing so far that you've discovered? I mean, like, what's one thing that you enjoy doing outside of football and school right now that you like to do outside of that?
Just hanging out with the friends, and definitely going up the road to the drive shack. Trying to work on my swing, so definitely working on that over there.
And so let me ask you this too. So when you first came to campus, who's the first player that you connected with?
First player, probably Tim McKay. Definitely Tim.
Okay.
He actually reached out to me before I even got here. And I just met him then. Nice. And as soon as I got here, I just met up with him and just started hanging out there from there.
Good deal. Okay.
So your recruitment was very under the radar. Like no one saw this coming. Did you take any kind of official visits before you committed, or you just sight unseen and said, that's where I want to go?
Well, I mean, I knew this is where I wanted to go. Just because, like, I just did my research on this place, knew the environment they already had. And so I was just like, this is a place I wanted to be. Didn't really take an official visit.
Okay. And who originally contacted you? Like, who was the main coach that was talking to you during that quote unquote recruitment process?
So during that quote unquote recruitment process, it was mainly just reaching out to what would be like your recruiting coordinator, which is Sanders. And from there, it was just meeting in, talking to all the guys, all the coaches, just getting a feel for the program.
I got you.
So did you do much of your stuff virtual then? You just kind of because you said you never took an official visit. So like, how did that go for you? And it's kind of it's probably much different than your recruitment went when you were at Charleston Southern, right? Like I'm sure you took visits and all of that. So How was that process much more different than your original commitment?
Well, so I actually knew what NC State was and like what it looked like because I've been here a long time ago. I actually came up here for a baseball visit. Just we had a tournament here, and I already knew what the area looked like. I liked it then, so I knew I wasn't going to have a problem with the area or the environment here.
Gotcha. Okay. And so speaking of Greg brings up, your Charleston Southern recruitment. So one of the things which I was actually interested by, I wanted to kind of ask you about. So I went back to your 247 page, and it actually only lists Charleston Southern as your only offer, and you committed to them, pretty much, and that was the timeline. Is there truth to that, or was there other people involved?
There were other people involved, but it was Charleston Southern was my first offer, and that was the one that really stayed with me because I actually had surgery my senior year of high school on my throwing shoulder. So then I was like the only one that was really keeping in contact with me and wanted me as a quarterback. A lot of the other programs were, oh yeah, we want you at defensive back or receiver. Yeah. Never played any of those positions before, so I didn't understand.
Yeah. No, I get that. And because it's interesting, because obviously when you take a look back at your career at Charleston Southern, I mean, it's a great career. I mean, you were I think a 2-time second team all conference, and obviously, I think that anybody could have seen the argument that you could have stuck around Charleston Southern. I mean, and been starting quarterback and gone through the motions. But what was kind of the deciding factor when you did decide to leave the program? And especially with obviously you knew heading into this year that you probably weren't going to be the starting quarterback. Gosh forbid, knock on wood. That didn't have to happen. But so what was kind of the deciding factor when you decided to move on from Charleston Southern?
Well, I just wanted a new experience. I wanted to see like what other opportunities were out there for me. I've had a great time at Charleston Southern, but I've been there for 4 or 5 years. I mean, I think it couldn't hurt just to go see what else was out there. And luckily, I ended up at a great spot like NC State, and I'm just happy to be here.
So basically, you were a peacock and you wanted to spread your wings and fly.
Exactly.
I love that. So, obviously, taking a look back at your Charleston Southern career, it obviously is interesting that it's all leading up to the fact. And I mean, did you know before you transferred to NC State that that NC State was going to play Charleston Southern this year? Did you know that? Like,
Yes, I did.
You got here, you were like, oh crap. Okay. Yeah.
I did. As soon as I was like, yeah, I really like NC State, I was like, let me just go look at their schedule and see who they're going to play.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, we actually play Charleston Southern. I was like, I definitely got to go now.
Okay.
Have any of your old teammates giving you any grief about that? Or they give a good ribbon about
Oh, yeah. All of them. I love it, though.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Speaking of the schedule, what ACC school and stadium are you looking forward to visiting?
Really all of them. I mean, I haven't been to any of the stadiums, but obviously I would like to see what the atmosphere is going to be like against Clemson. And then I guess UNC, since it's the uptown rival, I want to see that atmosphere too.
Yep.
It's a little better.
But the main one, I just can't wait to get into the Wolfpack Stadium and see the crowd go crazy when we're out there throwing touchdowns and the defense is making stops.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I think it was like either 18 or 19 you played against University of Florida. So speaking of stadium experiences, how was that? Like, I mean, that's an SEC school. I think there are like 80, 90,000 people. Just, talk about that and the emotions of being in something that massive.
Right. So I've been at Mississippi State, Florida, South Carolina, and Georgia. Georgia last year when they won the national championship. Yeah. But Florida was by far the most amazing experience I've had. It was fourth quarter. Obviously, we were getting whooped at the time, but like the lights are going off. Everyone has their flashlights on. They're playing Tom Petty. I'm sitting there getting whooped, and I'm just amazed and just looking around, just like, this is awesome.
Nice.
So sometimes it's just bigger than the moment itself, right? Like
Exactly.
The moment itself is bigger than just playing the game, right? It's the side stories, it's the back stuff that your team is down, but you're just taking it all in and still having a great time. That's to me, that's what the college experience is about. It's not about always the results on the field,
right? Exactly.
Yeah,
but the results on the field are pretty important too, though.
100% will not take that back. I mean, because you remember the wins probably more than the Tom Petties, right?
Sure,
definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and taking a look back to at your time at Charleston Southern. I mean, do you because speaking of Greg mentions going to Florida, do you have any favorite moments that really stand out to you during your time at Charleston Southern?
Favorite moments. We made so many of them.
Yeah.
I would say it was last year when we actually went into ECU. Like, that environment was loud and crazy.
Okay, so another one that you're going to get revisited.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Exactly. And it was crazy. And then, no one expected us to come out there and compete against those guys for some reason. And we went up there quick 14-0, and I never heard a crowd so quiet.
Yeah,
it was just an amazing feeling to be out there.
See, that's good intel you can pass on to your teammates this year. Be like, hey, we get up early, we can shut it down.
Exactly,
shut it down.
Exactly.
Yeah. Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time wearing and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. So, and I mean, obviously, too, we'll kind of touch on this a little bit, but obviously that ECU game. I mean, I think that, you know, if you talk to any NC State fan for more than 2 minutes, it's going to be made very clear that that ECU game is just so big for us NC State fans. I mean, obviously UNC is the big one. Clemson is also the big one, but ECU, I mean, especially with it being the first game of the year, with the fact that we haven't beaten them, you know, at ECU the last 2 times. I think it was back in 2006 the last time we beat them at ECU. Yeah. And so, I mean, you know, tell me about, like, you know, what's the mentality of the players right now? Because, I mean, to me, like, you know, I'm so nervous about that game just because, I mean, it would be such a big win. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, we're the better team. It's not a trap game because it's not like you're thinking about anybody else right now except for ECU. So, I mean, it's not a trap game. So, I mean, the only thing really is, I mean, just dealing with the environment. But, you know, with like players like you, players like Devin, Peyton, you know, Corey Durden, that are very experienced, Tanner Engel, very experienced players, like, I don't really see that it's really going to shake the team really that much. So, I mean, what's the kind of mindset right now of the players thinking about the ECU game?
So, I mean, we're very motivated, not just for the ECU game, but just for the season. Like, we know
absolutely
like what we have in front of us. We have a great team, a very experienced team, and it's just ECU is just one team that's on our schedule that we need to go in there and take care of business. Yep. And we're just excited to get this season started and going out there and prove the world what we already believe in.
Well, and keep in mind, the only reason why I'm putting so much focus on them is because even though it's just one, it is the next one. So, you know, I know that, you know, all football players and even, you know, the staff, I'm sure they're saying, you know, you got to focus on the next game. Mm-hmm. And ECU is the next game. It's a big game. It's, I mean, it's going to be hot. It's going to be a tough environment, like you were saying. It's going to be crazy. So that's why, you know, you know, that's why I'm like, yeah, I mean, for the whole season, we got a lot to prove. I mean, I think that just like you said, if we can come out with ECU early and really make a statement with that first game, I think it'll skyrocket, you know, everything in terms of the fans feels, the team itself, morale, it'll put a lot of people locally. I don't necessarily think on like the national level, because a lot of people nationally might say, ECU, that's not really a big game, but to everybody local around the area, they know that's a big game. So, so Greg, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like walking around the facilities, like how much do you guys just talk about the ECU game? You just mindset in general is just get ready for the season. Like, I mean, you know, what does like that feel around during these workouts? I know we got what 2 or 3 weeks before camp starts.
Yes.
So is it just right now you're just working out and then you'll get that focus when camp opens more about ECU? Like, talk to me about that a little bit.
Especially, like, definitely when we get into camp, we'll focus on ECU, we'll get ready to prepare for ECU. Right now, we're just trying to become the best that NC State can be. And I feel like when we're at the top of our game, we're going to be a pretty hard team to beat. And that's what we're trying to get to.
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit, too, about you know, kind of your piece of that puzzle. You know, obviously, you know, being that you've been at NC State now for about 2 months now, I'm sure that you kind of have an idea in terms of what, you know, is more likely going to be expected of you, you know, in terms of, you know, obviously supporting, you know, if, you know, for some reason Devin has come out for, you know, a snap, whatever it may be, knock on wood, you know, just, but, you know, like what's the, I guess, the conversation been in terms of where do you kind of expect yourself to be in terms of, I mean, helping with the running back side, being like a slot receiver, like, you know, specialist, quarterback backup, like where do you kind of see yourself this season?
Quarterback especially, but I'm here for whatever the team needs. Haven't really tackled anybody, so I don't see myself going to the defensive side of the ball, but like the offense, I'm here for wherever they need, but definitely came here for quarterback.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I think I saw in 2021. I couldn't find your stats for last year, but I did see in 2021 you had 2 tackles. So, you know, so I mean, but hopefully those are the last 2 that you'll have to take. So
exactly.
But yeah, and obviously, you know, for this year, it's it's crazy to think about. And I know that you're new to the NC State, line, but obviously, has there ever been any kind of a history lesson? I mean, the fact that, I mean, literally that between football, men's basketball, and baseball, we haven't won a championship since 1992. So, I mean, looking at this season, and not only is there expectations in terms of from a conference championship, I remember actually when I saw you at the Pack of Wolves kickoff event, I had my my Bitcoin bowl ring from 2014, the St. Petersburg Bowl, and I was saying, yeah, you guys are going to get one that says ACC champion this year, and you're like, no, ours is going to say national champion. I was like, hey, dang, I like that, Jack. That's what's up. So, I mean, it's like, have you been kind of brought up to speed in terms of, I mean, obviously national championship would be ridiculously amazing, but just an ACC championship would be like one of the biggest things to happen to NC State in probably decades. Like it'd be ginormous. I mean, has anybody kind of brought you up to snuff in terms of how big that is?
Yes. I mean, as a team, we've actually had the discussions of what the past has brought and like what we haven't been able to accomplish in a while. And we know what we want to accomplish. Just like every other team in the country, they want to be champions. So we just got to distinguish ourselves from every other team out there and just go out there and do it.
Absolutely. And talk to me a little bit about your position coach, Tim Beck, and Coach Dorn. What was your kind of initial, thoughts of them? And what's it been like, working with Coach Beck and Coach Dorn over these last couple months or so?
Well, first thing I notice is Coach Dorn is straightforward. He means what he means and he says what he wants to say. And it's just like, that's a coach that you like to have. It's just not going to sugarcoat anything. He wants you to be a part of this team and get the best out of you. And Coach Beck, real cool guy, knows the game, wants to help me become the best quarterback that I can become. First thing he told me when I got here, he said he's going to coach me like I'm Tom Brady. Like that's not even my playing style, but like obviously the guy who knows the game exactly. He knows everything that's going to happen in the game, and like as a player, you would love to for a coach to be out there on you all times and want to get the best out of you.
Love it. And so let me ask this too, because, obviously it definitely stands out to me that, your definite focus, especially with this interview so far, has been quarterback. And so, I mean, going into camp, like, is your mindset even at all like, I want to try and beat out Devin, for the starting spot? Or is it kind of like, that, I mean, just kind of what's your mindset, going into it? Because I mean, I know anybody that's a competitor, you want to be the guy for sure. But I mean, I think that, Devin is really, really good quarterback, but not saying you're not either, I mean, obviously it's like, kind of help me out here, like what's your kind of mindset heading into camp in that aspect?
So like you said, I'm a competitor. I want to go out there and compete, but my goal right now is learn the playbook, get the best that I can, and support and do everything I need to make this team win. That's backing up Devin.
Okay.
So with that said, all right, like you want to make yourself better, you want to make him better, he makes you better, and then by proxy, you make the defense better, right?
Exactly.
So it's all in the day's work. It's the 5 days leading up to Saturday or where you really win the game, right? So
Absolutely.
that saying iron sharpens iron. Or steel sharpens steel, or whatever that saying is. But I think that's pretty much what you're rolling with here.
Exactly.
You just want to make yourself better, make the team better as a whole.
Love it.
Yeah.
And it kind of tell me too, Jack, obviously heading into this year, one of the things that really stands out, especially in the landscape that we're in college football, and we'll kind of talk more about that here in the second part, but where a lot of teams right now, players are leaving, transferring to other schools, coaching staffs are changing, things like that. Like was it really like, what was kind of your really initial kind of thoughts heading into it, knowing that you're obviously heading into a situation where the culture is growing, and obviously Dorn's only been here, this is going to be his 10th year if I'm not mistaken, 9th or 10th year, and for all the players to say I'm coming back, I want to be a part of AC championship, for the coaching staff to stick around, especially with a guy like Tim Beck that I mean has probably as impressive as of a coaching resume that there's ever been, and so how much of that really kind of contributed, and how does that make you feel like that you're now a part of something which can has really been building for 9 years here, and then hopefully can all really come to fruition here this year, with hopefully an ACC championship at the very least, if not an undefeated season. I think that's 100% on the table here.
Yes. But I mean, just to go back on Coach Dorn, it's his 10th year here. Like coaching, when you think about that, coaches aren't really staying in one place for so long. Right. So you got to be doing something right. And for all the coaches to come back this year, and then you have like you guys like your 6th year, 7th year, 8th year seniors, like Zay and Peyton, Devin, exactly. Like
I don't even think you're the oldest one on the team, and you just turned. You said what, 25?
Yeah.
Like I don't even think you're the oldest.
If I'm not the oldest, I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like you have to know like the kind of atmosphere that you have to bring everybody back. I mean, something good's cooking over at NC State.
I love it. That's a good quote right there. Good deal. Yeah. So with that being said, we'll kind of take a pause there, and again, we'll kind of pick back up in terms of talking about current status of college football, talk a little bit more about this upcoming season, talk about NIL, things like that. So make sure if you haven't already, again, hit that subscribe button so that way you do not miss out on any new NC State content. And also too, when we come out with that part 2 of the interview with Jack Chambers, quarterback for NC State. And also to give this video a like, so that way YouTube will put this video in front of more NC State fans. Also to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram. And also to give Jack a follow as well. We'll put all of his links to his social media in the description below. So make sure you go give him a follow as well. And again, we'll see y'all for part 2. As always, go Pack, y'all. We'll see y'all soon.